Shortly after sunrise on June 13, 1805, Captain Meriwether Lewis walked to the top of hills above the Missouri River to see a landscape like none he had ever seen. Later that day, in his journal, Captain Lewis wrote, "From the extremity of this rolling country, I overlooked a most beautiful and level plain of great extent. Two curious mountains presented themselves of square figures. Their tops appeared to be level plains. These inaccessible heights appeared like the ramparts of immense fortifications. I have no doubt, but with very little assistance from art, they might be rendered impregnable."
This was a beautiful idea to link Lewis and Clark and stewardship and environmentalism and the ranching community all together.
Undaunted Stewardship program is boosting our industry as beef producers. That's the main thing for me, because I've been on a ranch all my life and this is my life. Amy and I were both born and raised right here within a 20-mile radius. We went to school in Big Sandy and we don't want to leave. This is where we were brought up and I just love this way of life. It's a way of life. It's not a living, it's a way of life.
I had a rancher tell me once the best thing for the land is the footsteps of its owner.
Yeah.
If he's good to the land will be good to him.
Nearly 200 years after the actual journey of Lewis and Clark, the land remains much the same as it was 200 years ago.
I guess our goal is to recognize the ranchers that made that happen and identify them as the good stewards they really are. The Undaunted Stewardship program is a unique partnership made up of the BLM, Montana State University, and Montana Stock Growers Association. And I don't know of any other partnership like it in the country to try to protect special places or preserve historic sites and at the same time enhance the environment, enhance the agricultural economy, enhance rural economic development. And I guess that's why we're so excited about it. The Pavlovick Ranch, for example, is a working cattle ranch. Been in the family, I think, 3 generations now. But on that ranch is actually one of the campsites where Lewis and Clark camped at the Judith Landing on their way up the Missouri River. They came up to this location through the gates of the mountains.
But again, it is located right in the heart of prime ranch land country, with the SIEBEN Ranch located here, one of the largest ranches around this part of the country. Kathy Campbell, another working rancher here.
200 years ago, this setting probably was much just like it is today. That canyon, the only thing different is there was a river there instead of a lake. And everything else is probably just like it was 200 years ago. The Beaverhead Rock is another example. While it's a little different operation, they do graze cattle there, and there's a very significant wetlands and bird sanctuary there. That Beaverhead Rock is where Sacagawea finally realized where she was. She was almost lost till she got to that point. And she said she knew she was close to home when she saw that Beaverhead Rock. And that's the place that they first saw their first Indian, I think, horseback, because they had to figure out a way to get over the mountain, and that was the area they gave up their boats and started looking for horses to get over the mountain. And on the trip back, Lewis and Clark split, and one went over on the Yellowstone side, and that's why the Mission Range is so significant.
They were on horseback and traveling as fast as they could to try to locate cottonwoods that were large enough in order to build canoes and a flotilla, essentially to take them down to the Missouri, mouth of the Yellowstone. Probably they did camp down in the river bottom down here, probably across the river from us. We're standing on the site of Fort Parker, which was the first Crow Indian agency. It took on the name the Mission, even though there wasn't one here, and that's actually the source of the name Mission Creek and our Mission Ranch.
It was ranched after they moved the reservation. The fellow's name was Kennelly, and he was going to have a huge ranch and actually built the castle over here for his bride. He only got halfway done and the money ran out. What happened to Kennelly?
He left.
He left. It's remained in the family since 1947. and still running Black Angus cattle. This site is like it was just in 1947.
Okie doke. Get well, kid. I do like to get them when they're sleeping. I have more success as a rule.
We've been working with Doug and ZENA on revising their grazing plan. There were a lot of wonderful things going on here before, but by fine-tuning that grazing program, they can actually get more production, more forage out of the same amount of land area. One of the things that we've done is to delay the time cattle move up into the upland foothills, thereby giving those plants a better chance to establish before they're grazed. The animals can come in, they can access the forage, and then they can move out. And by doing so, they limit the amount of physical impact that the livestock have to the stream and to the stream banks. Livestock grazing, properly managed and controlled, can be used to keep the plant community here healthy and diverse, and therefore benefit larger numbers of wildlife species and increase populations as well.
One of the problems that the Undaunted Stewardship people are helping us with is to restore the spring creek that was really devastated during the flooding that we had in 1996 and 97. And boy, is it working. In fact, this hole that we're standing near right now, just a few weeks ago during the Mother's Day caddis hatch, there were probably 50 fish all rising to caddises in that hatch. So fish fairly good size, anywhere between 18 and 22 inches and better.
All of these ranchers are doing this strictly on a voluntary basis, and the idea is they're doing the things that they want to do, and this program rewards them for doing the right things for the right reasons, and that's what makes this thing so special.
And just recognize the important role that agriculture has played in preserving those sites and sharing many of those sites, which may be located on private lands, with the public, so that they'll have the same appreciation that the rancher who owns that site might have.
Livestock ranching, public recreation, wildlife, and historic site preservation can all exist in a very sustainable setting where it's win-win for everyone.
It brings it all together. It brings us a lot closer. That is the conservationist community as well as the ranching community. And this is a way for us to really improve the environment.
This is a nationally unique program focused on privately owned landscapes all across Montana, especially along the Lewis and Clark Trail system. Undaunted Stewardship is helping ranch families preserve historic sites, yet keep those sites open to the general public so they can enjoy and learn from these places. The program Undaunted Stewardship is helping ranch families improve their grazing management and land stewardship, not only to sustain natural productivity, but also to improve the economics of ranching. In addition, Undaunted Stewardship is helping ranchers who are interested develop new side businesses serving tourists, like the Pavlovick Ranch near Missouri Breaks, which is developing a general store and a campground for river floaters, and the Mission Ranch near Livingston, which has developed a bed and breakfast and a new fee fishing program. The whole program is voluntary and incentive-based, overseen by a guidance council whose members include groups that in the past have dealt with each other more often as adversaries in court. Today, they're genuinely working together, cooperatively, toward shared goals: preserving the environment, preserving historic sites, and improving the agricultural economy.
Preserve and protect, and yet continue productivity for rural America, for the public who comes and visits these special places. And it ends up being a very special program, and it's exciting to think that maybe we can get something going on a long-term basis similar to the Undaunted Stewardship.
It's an interesting path that we are on, and it's quite a journey. And it just has fallen into place for us. So many things have. I mean, it's not been easy. We're working harder than we've ever worked.
We have been blessed by our experiences here, by each other, by our families, by our possibilities.